River deltas, the world's unique landform where people and water come together. Delta regions are home to the world's most fertile soil, abundant biodiversity, as well as the largest cities and ports. Their strategic locations and rich natural resources offer advantages for trade, economic activity, and food production. In many countries, delta and coastal regions have long been the engines of national economies. For thousands of years, river deltas functioned as a central hub for economic development and urbanisation. With the world continuing this trajectory, the importance of these water landscapes is emphasised more than ever in human history. But upon closer inspection, delta regions are experiencing some of our most pressing challenges in the light of rapid urbanisation and climate change. Climate change and sea level rise will directly affect the safety and livelihoods of millions of people in the coming decades. Without timely and effective adaptation interventions, it is expected that changes in our climate will result in significant GDP losses, ranging from 9% of GDP per capita in the Volta Delta in Ghana to an almost 20% loss in Bangladesh. This will exacerbate existing challenges in river deltas, as they are already the most vulnerable regions to flooding, salinity intrusion, and freshwater shortage. Urbanised deltas are and will be the world's climate impact hotspots, where high concentrations of people and wealth meet the most severe impacts of our changing climate. In response to these challenges, delta regions worldwide are shaping up and testing fundamentally new strategies to achieve a resilient future. The grand quest is to seek long-term resilience through physical safety, enhancement of ecological values, and sustainable economic growth. Countries such as Bangladesh and the Netherlands have responded strongly through long-term and holistic adaptation plans. What can we learn from work on the ground from these and other river deltas across the world? We highlight the successful stories and the key findings from several international case studies on delta adaptation, based on a series of lighthouse delta cases by the Global Centre on Adaptation, with support from the Dutch Ministry of Infrastructure and Water Management. Let the journey begin from the Dutch Delta.
In the Dutch Delta, we have experienced severe floodings in our history that made us develop structural and resilient solutions. We had to be creative and active on developing water and delta policies. We have learned that fighting nature does not always give the best outcome. Therefore, our policies have become nature-based solutions, aimed at living with water. However, we're not the only delta country, so we closely work together with other delta countries. For example, through the Delta Coalition, to learn from each other and to inspire each other. Moreover, we have created good governance on water and deltas. With a delta program based on a delta law, structural finance and knowledge exchange. Let us go now and see how the Netherlands and other deltas work with water.
The Wadden region in the Netherlands, characterised by its smooth coastlines, fertile soil, unique biodiversity, historic cities, ports and coastal infrastructure. This region is a UNESCO World Heritage Site with inestimable waterscape treasures and historical value. But it is not immune to the challenges of climate change. With temperatures increasing, rainfall intensity rising, dry spells lengthening and salinisation worsening, the impacts on this region seem insurmountable. To match this, action is being taken on the ground. The Afsluitdijk has protected large parts of the Netherlands against flooding since 1932. This iconic water infrastructure is being renovated and prepared for the future. An integrated programme will improve the Afsluitdijk's economic, energy and ecological capacities. The ecological connection between the Waddenzee and the IJsselmeer will also be restored by introducing the innovative fish migration river.
We hebben het over ons voorbereiden op het veranderende klimaat. En juist die uitdaging om in die hele nieuwe manier van kijken op dijkversterking, op waterveiligheid, is het helemaal van deze tijd om daarin ook de natuurlijke processen onder water daar in dat ontwerp mee te nemen. Building with nature. Voor zo'n dijk als de afsluitdijk, een iconische dijk, die 90 jaar geleden al iconisch was. Nou, wat mij betreft dus nu met zo'n vismigratierivier ook voor de komende 90 jaar weer iconisch.
Not only in the Netherlands, building with nature is becoming a global, highly promising norm for climate adaptation in river deltas. In the Demak district of North Java, Indonesia, the coastline is severely eroding. Mangroves that once protected the shore have been cut down and replaced by aquaculture ponds. Simultaneously, land subsidence is increasing due to groundwater extraction for domestic and industrial uses. This combination of factors has left the coastline and communities exposed to the daily tides and extreme weather events occurring more frequently due to climate change. Local communities, scientists, governments and NGOs in North Java have designed temporary permeable wooden structures, trapping sediment and allowing mangroves to naturally recover. These structures are placed alongside sustainable aquaculture, boosting the local economy and increasing resilience. Building with nature can help protect the coastlines and communities around the world. To achieve this, a supportive policy framework for building with nature is needed, along with capacity building in the public and private sector. To maximise impact, constitutional changes are needed to provide alternative water supplies so groundwater can be protected and land subsidence prevented. We have seen inspiring stories of how to restore the natural resilience of river deltas and the adaptability of communities living alongside them. Now, we dive deeper into the key findings of the Global Centre on Adaptation. While each delta takes a different strategy and implements locally tailored measures, a number of common success factors are inherent across multiple cases. From the finance and policy domain, it is important that delta adaptation is supported through long-term commitment, appropriate policy frameworks, and long-term predictable budgets. Of special importance is to create legal and political frameworks that are conducive to long-term integrated adaptation planning in delta regions. Concerning adaptation technicalities, engineering should be combined with nature-based thinking and localized solutions. This means that adaptive thinking should extend well beyond pure design and in no way be viewed as a sole technical undertaking. Such a combination in delta planning and management allows deltas to continue to thrive under external pressures. Last but not least, active participation of the delta citizens and communities are essential for sustainable uptake and scaling up of novel initiatives. In this sense, participation should be combined with improvement of local livelihoods and with meaningful exchanges. All in all, we need an approach which ensures that increasing resilience also supports human and economic development. In this context, meaningful participation of local stakeholders combined with long-term commitment, predictable budgets, and appropriate policies are key to achieve delta resilience under climate change and urbanisation. Looking forward, we visit the future of global climate adaptation. Acknowledging an urgent need for global adaptation, especially in developing countries, the government of the Netherlands made €160 million available through the Dutch Fund for Climate and Development, known as the DFCD. Managed by a pioneering consortium of FMO, climate fund managers SNV and WWF, the DFCD will work with the private sector to catalyse over €500 million in additional funding for bankable projects across the world. These projects will boost the health of freshwater, forest, agriculture and ocean ecosystems and improve water management. Critically, the DFCD will help vulnerable communities to adapt, drive sustainable development and strengthen global efforts to tackle climate change. On the ground in the Irrawaddy Delta of Myanmar, adaptation is already underway.
The key climatic risks impacting the Irrawaddy Delta include an increase in temperature, flooding, sea level rise, and saltwater intrusion. One way of adapting to these climate risks is better water management that supports integrated rice fish systems in the delta, where fields could include salt-tolerant rice varieties combined with brackish water, fish or crustaceans. We have developed a set of geospatial suitability maps and decision support tools. And this combined with cross-sectoral policy dialogues with the agriculture, fisheries and irrigation sector will help us in tailoring, targeting and ultimately in the scaling out of investments in integrated rice fish systems in the context of climate change.
Climate change is real and it's hitting the city hard. We are at that tipping point now where water has now become a cross-cutting issue across the city.
People here tend to think that water is their enemy, but water as leverage really changed the perspective of seeing water and treat water.
সাধারণত আমরা হাই লেভেল অফিসার কিংবা অন্যান্য কর্মকর্তাদের থেকে যে ইয়েটা পাই সেটাই আমরা অ্যাপ্লাই করি, বাট বটম আপ অ্যাপ্রোচ একদম রুট লেভেল থেকে যারা ইউজার, যারা এই পানি ব্যবহারকারী এবং তাদের কাছ থেকেই প্রোগ্রামটা শোনা এবং ভবিষ্যৎ পরিকল্পনা গ্রহণ করা।
Water's leverage also made sure that water was looked upon as an opportunity, looked upon as something that can be used at various scales in terms of intervention. And it has the potential of being scaled up so that many more cities could become water secure.
Adaptation to a rapidly changing climate on the continent of Africa is urgently needed. Droughts and soil erosion are some of the most pressing water-related challenges of climate change. So what needs to happen to turn the Paris Agreement into action on the continent? Nationally determined commitments, more commonly referred to as NDCs, are at the heart of the global effort on climate action. Water is a key component of the NDCs, with 2/3 of the actions being related to water. Given the importance of water, there is an urgent need to increase investments in water adaptation. If we are to ensure a sustainable future for all, more investment is needed across the continent of Africa. To address the finance gap, the Global Centre on Adaptation is creating a Build Smart project preparation facility for Africa's water sector. The object of this GCA initiative is to close the current planning investment gaps for multiple projects. A large regional dedicated facility will scale up and accelerate water climate change adaptation to boost human and economic development in a water-insecure world. Deltas, the pressure cooker where resilient water management and development meet, a source for knowledge and experience. Let's act now.